guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new to my channel, welcome. I am back with another Marriage Boot Camp Reality Stars Hip Hop Edition Season 17 review. This review is for episode 1, and this is a pretty interesting cast for this season, so I really want to see how this season's going to end up turning out. It looks like it's going to be very explosive, so let's just dive right into this review because so much happened in just this one episode. So Hazel E and her boyfriend Devon arrive at the Marriage Boot Camp house first. I was actually surprised to see Hazel E on this show. I didn't think that she would come on this show. She is with Devon, who is a lot younger than she is. I think she said there's a 15-year difference between the two of them. And so she was saying that her problem in the relationship is she feels like he could possibly be using her for clout because she does have a pretty big following on social media. And then on top of that, she was on Love and Hip Hop for multiple seasons. And so she feels like he could possibly be using her for that. Now, I don't know if he's using her. He said that his problem with her is that she talks to him like he's a child, but I mean, with their age gap, she probably feels like he is a child compared to her. So I'm interested to see how their whole dynamic works out throughout this season. Now, Corrupt and his wife, Tony, end up arriving at the Marriage Boot Camp next, and they were messy before they even walked into the door. He was like upbeat and trying to talk to her and try to hug her. And she was not interested at all. She did not want him touching her. She would not answer him when he was talking to her. And I was like, something must have happened before they arrived to the house because she's already pissed off at him. Now, they end up going into the house and he sees that there's a bar inside the Marriage Boot Camp house, and he gets really excited and he starts pouring himself some drinks, and you can tell that it's really bothering Tony, and she ended up revealing that he has a drinking problem. He drinks all the time, and then the two of them have anger issues, so when he drinks and then they start arguing, it could be very explosive. Now, you could tell that it was really bothering her, and the way he was like throwing down them drinks, you can definitely tell that he has some sort of drinking problem. He tries to hug her again, and Tony pushes him away. She doesn't want him anywhere near her. She basically said that he was sneaking around with another woman recently. I think she said the day before they moved into the Marriage Boot Camp house. I don't know if I heard that correctly, but if it's true, then I can understand why she's pissed off at him already before the show even starts. So I know they're going to be the messy couple throughout this season. Now, Willie Taylor and his wife Shonda ended up arriving to the Marriage Boot Camp house next, and I knew that they have a lot of issues in their relationship because we saw some of it play out on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood previous seasons ago. And so I was just like, I know that they need to be in this house because they have a lot that they need to work on. She said that he cheats on her all the time, and he's been cheating throughout the duration of their marriage. And she said that she had cheated on him in retaliation for him doing it to her because she didn't want to sit around and let him play her, which I can understand, but I just feel like if they feel the need to cheat on each other, then they probably just shouldn't stay together. They need to be on Marriage Boot Camp more than any other couple, I think, this season because they have children involved, okay? I think they have 3 children together, and even if they don't decide to stay together, they have to be able to communicate and at least try to get along for the sake of their kids. So I definitely think that the two of them need to be here. Now, it was awkward when Shonda walked into the house because her and Hazel E had a back and forth before on social media because Hazel E was making colorist statements on social media, and Shonda was one of the people who had a problem with it, and she spoke up about it, rightfully so. And so I knew that there was going to be tension between the two of them, and you can actually sense the tension once Shonda and Hazel E spotted each other. Now, there's tension going on between Hazel and Shonda, and then on top of that, you have Corrupt and his wife Tony still arguing with each other in the background because he's drunk and he's all up in her face and she doesn't like it. So they're already arguing, and it's the first day, so I don't even want to see what happens with the two of them in the next episode because this is the first episode. They've only been in the house 5 minutes and they can't stop arguing with each other. So Phaedra Parks and her boyfriend Medina end up arriving to the Marriage Boot Camp next, and I was actually happy to see Phaedra, not because I'm a fan of her or anything. I watched her on, The Real Housewives of Atlanta. I think that she's really funny, so she'll bring good comedic relief throughout this season. And her boyfriend Medina were saying that the problems that they have in their relationship is not that serious. They have some hiccups, and that, Medina feels like their problem is intimacy, and he means intimacy as a whole, not just sex, but in general. That's definitely something that they need to work on. I'm actually surprised to hear that, though, about Phaedra, because if you've watched her with Apollo, who's her ex-husband, on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, you would see that she was very sexual a lot, and she was like, I don't know, she was very open sexually, in my opinion, from that show. So I'm actually surprised to hear that there's a lack of intimacy in her relationship with Medina. And the last couple to arrive to the marriage boot camp house was Tahiry, Jose, and her boyfriend Vado. They said that they were like really close friends, and then they decided to get together in a relationship, although Tahiry says that they've only been together for 18 months, and she sees it more as a situationship rather than a relationship. So for me, I don't even think Tahiry takes it seriously, because if she's not even considering it a relationship yet and they've been together for 18 months, I don't even see where this relationship is going. I don't know if Vado feels the same way, because in the first half of this episode, he wasn't very vocal about how he felt up until towards the end of the episode. Some of the couples were all outside mingling with each other, trying to get to know each other better, because they're all going to be living under the same roof for the next 10 days. And Willie and Hazel E were talking, and he was showing her pictures of him and Shonda's kids. And Shonda seemed to be bothered by that, because she really doesn't like Hazel E, and they haven't had a conversation yet about their back and forth that they had on social media. And so they all realized that Shonda is annoyed, and the two of them start arguing back and forth, which I knew that was going to happen, and I knew it was going to happen in the first episode, because I knew that one of them wasn't going to be able to bite their tongue for that much longer. Although I think it's good for them to get it over with now and not drag it on for the end of the season, because they have more important things to worry about, like their relationships, not their beef that they had back and forth. So they start arguing about Hazel E's colorist statements, and Hazel E said some problematic things in the conversation. She said some phrases that I don't think that she should have said, and her and Shonda kept arguing back and forth. It didn't seem like it was getting anywhere at first, but they decided to hug it out and end their beef at some point, because they just felt like it was unnecessary for them to continue it, which I think is good. They can agree not to like each other, because I honestly don't think that they ever will, but I think it was mature of the both of them to be able to have the conversation and drop it right there and dead it, although it may come up in conversations throughout the season, but we'll see what happens. At least they were able to hug it out, though. So Dr.Ish ends up greeting all the couples, and he ends up bringing them into this room that's set up like a presidential debate, and it has like a bunch of press there. And I think that's the look that they were going for anyway, because it ended up being a relationship debate. This is where they do like the press conference portion of the season, where they show the interviews that each person in the relationship did, and they show that to the other person, and it ends up turning into a huge argument, because they didn't even know that these interviews were going to be shown if they haven't watched previous seasons of Marriage Boot Camp before. Now, the first couple to do the relationship debate was Tahiry and Vado, and I was cringing throughout this little debate that they had, because Vado said a lot of things about Tahiry that was unfavorable, and for me, it just would have been a deal breaker right then and there. He was saying that he felt that Tahiry was not really interested in him, and she doesn't act towards him the way that she's acted towards other guys that she was actually into. And he also said that she needs to stop being a thirst bucket. Now, when he called her a thirst bucket, everybody was shocked that he said that about her, including Tahiry, because he was trying to paint her as this groupie, okay? And she felt some type of way about it, rightfully so, because I just don't think you say that about somebody you love and care about. And if he was going to say that, he should have said it to her in private, but he said it in that friggin' interview, and it got shown to everybody. Now, Judge Toller was there too, and you could tell that everybody was uncomfortable with the statements that Vado had made, and if I was to hear, I would have been a little bit embarrassed at that point. And she was bothered by that. She told him that she's not a clout chaser, and she doesn't understand why he said that about her. Now, Tahiry said that she doesn't really know much about Vado, because he refuses to open up in their relationship. And so that's where, for me, that's probably why he feels like she's not that interested in him the way she was with other men, because maybe the other men that she was with actually opened up and let their guard down so that she could truly get to know them. And because he won't do that, she doesn't seem so interested in him. And so they have a lot to work on in this relationship. I personally don't think that they're gonna last, and I don't even know if their friendship will last after this, just because they were friends first and they have all these issues already. So it's like, is their friendship even gonna last if they don't end up together? Now it's Hazel E and Devon's turn, and Hazel basically says that she's 15 years older than Devin, and she hopes that he's not using her for clout, which was said in the beginning, because that's her biggest problem in the relationship with Devin. Now, Devin wasn't really listening to what Hazel has to say. He's one of those people who he listens to you because he wants to think in his head what he's going to say back to you, okay? But he's not really retaining what you're saying. And so Judge Toller had to stop him and make him realize that, because in order for them to be able to communicate effectively, he's going to have to really listen. Now, Devin says that his problem with Hazel is that she goes from 0 to 100 really quick on him, and she kind of talks to him like he's a little boy. And I think that that's going to continue to be a problem within their relationship because of the fact that there is a 15-year difference. But I do appreciate Hazel saying that that's something that she knows she has to work on, because that means she's taking accountability. And for me, the first step to actively changing something is to take accountability for your actions. So it was Medina and Phaedra's turn to do their little relationship debate, and basically he said that his problem with Phaedra is that she has walls up with him. Now, Phaedra admits that she does have walls up because she wants a man who's with her for the right reason. She is a career woman, she has 2 children, and she just wants to make sure that if she's letting somebody in her space, that it's the right type of person to allow in, which I can understand her for that. Now, she admits that, her and Medina have never had sex, and the whole room starts laughing because everybody was surprised that they had never had sex. Personally, I was surprised because Phaedra is really open with her sexuality. If you watched her on The Real Housewives of Atlanta with her ex-husband Apollo, you would know that, and so I was actually surprised that she hadn't had sex with Medina yet. Now, she was saying that she doesn't want to jump into anything too fast because she knows what she has, and she knows that if she gives him a taste of it, he's going to end up losing his mind. And I was like, this is why I was glad that Phaedra's on this season, because she's really funny. Now, she said that she knows at some point she's going to have to try to drop the walls down, but she's afraid of getting hurt, and I can understand why she's afraid to get hurt, because she, had a very public divorce with Apollo, and, you don't really want to feel that heartbreak again, and so I understand why she doesn't want to let her guard down. But at some point, if she wants to find love and a happy relationship, she's going to have to let those walls down at some point, whether it's with Medina or not. So here's where it gets a little bit messy in this little relationship debate, okay? Because Shonda and Willie end up going next to do their relationship debate, and all the skeletons are coming out the closet. They're saying all types of shit, okay? Now, Shonda says that Willie cheats a lot, and so that's the reason why she's not happy in her relationship with him, because he just won't stop cheating. And Willie says that she cheated on him too, so she can't really talk about him cheating, but she says that she cheated on him in retaliation for him cheating on her. And so basically they're going tit for tat with cheating on each other, and that's just not the way to go about it. So I just don't know if their relationship is going to even end up working. Now, Willie said that he can't stay with Shonda if she continues to speak to him the way that she speaks to him, and she said that she speaks to him the way that she does because of the way that he speaks to her. He's called her out her name multiple times, and she doesn't like that, and so she goes back at him the way that he goes at her. And basically, Shonda says that, she just doesn't want to deal with his shit anymore, and if he can't make those changes, then she's going to have to leave the relationship. Now, Willie says that half the time he doesn't even want to come home to Shonda because of her attitude, and she says that she has the attitude because of the things that he does to her. So honestly, nobody's really taking full accountability of their part and why their relationship is the way that it is, and I feel like they're going to have a hard time really getting themselves together because neither one of them will take accountability. Each one of them are saying, oh, it's your fault, oh, I do this because you do this. Both of them are doing it, and so I just feel like if nobody steps up and takes accountability, it's never going to be able to be fixed. Now, Tony and Corrupt's little relationship debate got ugly really, really quickly because Corrupt was clearly drunk. He was slurring his words and everything, and he was contradicting himself a lot throughout this little debate because, Tony said that the problem in their relationship is that Corrupt drinks too much and he won't stop. And so basically he comes in drunk and he says that he loves Tony more than he loves himself and that he can sleep with anyone he wants to, but he chooses not to. And then one minute he says that he loves himself more than he loves anybody else. And he was drunk as hell, slurring his words, and he starts yelling and everything. I'm like, oh my God, like this is what this woman has to deal with. Is this what she dealt with for the 30 years that they said that they've been together? How did she stay with him for this long? It's unhealthy for her to be in this type of relationship, and I honestly don't think that they should stay together once this whole marriage boot camp thing is over, because it seems like it's going to take him a lot more than 10 days for him to change that behavior. And so I think that leaving him is really the only way for her to be happy. I don't think there's any fixing that situation, because he was drunk as hell, just acting a fool, telling her that she needs to accept him and accept all of him. So that means that she has to accept him running around cheating, talking to her any way he wants to, getting drunk and acting like a fool. He expects her to accept all that and just deal with it and with a smile on her face. And I just don't like that he said that, whether he was drunk or not. And so I just don't think that they need to be together. So after the whole corrupt debacle with him being drunk, acting a fool, Dr.Ish and Judge Toller end up giving the couples the names of their relationship, because every season they give out names to describe the relationships, and those names represent the rooms that they'll be spending their time in for the next 10 days. And so explosive energy goes to Corrupt and Tony, obviously. And then Cheaters of the House goes to Willie and Shonda. That's no surprise. And then Baggage goes to Tahiry and Vado, which was definitely not surprising either. And Imperfection goes to Phaedra, because Phaedra does try to act like Little Miss Perfect, although she is not as perfect as she tries to make herself seem. So they end up going upstairs to see what their rooms look like, and not everybody was happy with their rooms. Now, Tony and Corrupt have a room with fire everywhere. I think they have a fireplace in there, and then they have like fire decor all over the friggin' room, because they have explosive energy. And then Hazel E and Devin have pictures of Hazel E everywhere, with Devin in the background because it's all about Hazel. And then they have like gold toys in the room because he's younger than her. And Hazel seemed to like the room because it was basically all about her. But Devon wasn't really feeling it, because it made it seem like he's a little kid, and he says that he's a grown man, not a little boy. So that's something that he's probably going to have a problem with throughout the remainder of this season. Now, Phaedra and Medina have a pink room. It literally looks like a little princess room. Their room is actually really cute, but there's cracks on everything. Like, there's tiaras there, but there's cracks in it. There's mirrors, but there's cracks in it. And so basically they're trying to say that, you seem perfect, but you have some damage that you need to work on as well. But Phaedra really loved the room. She didn't even care about all the cracks in it. Now, Medina really wasn't feeling it, because he said that there was no masculine energy in the room. And so basically I think they were trying to tell Phaedra that she has to make space in her life for somebody else. Now, Tahiry and Vado have a very funny room, because when you walk in there, it literally looks like baggage claim at the airport. And basically, both of them have a lot of baggage that they have to work on. The two of them were arguing throughout the remainder of the night, though, to the point where Dr.Ish had to go in there and have a conversation with them. And for some reason, Medina made his way into their room, into their conversation. And Phaedra was telling him, you need to get up out these people's room. What are you doing in here when you're supposed to be in here with me? Which I thought was funny, because I didn't understand why he was in their room in their business. Now, Vado tried to pretend like he doesn't have any insecurities, but Dr.Ish quickly checked him, because it's like, you're saying that you have a fear of her leaving you for somebody else, and you're saying you feel like she doesn't like you the way she's liked other guys that she's been with, so clearly you have insecurities. Everybody has insecurities. You're just trying to pretend like you don't have any, which is absolutely true. Now, I don't understand why the two of them continued to argue throughout the night, but I know Tahiry ended up bringing up him calling her a thirst bucket and saying she was a clout chaser, and she really didn't appreciate that, which I can understand, because I don't understand why he said that about her. But they were arguing about it the remainder of the night. Now, Dr.Ish ends up going into Phaedra and Medina's room and tells Phaedra that she needs to make space in her life for love, because she's really blocking, love from her, because she's just focusing solely on herself, which to me is not a problem. But at the same time, she does need to open up a little more and kind of slowly let her guards down, which I think will happen at some point throughout the season. Now, Dr.Ish was finishing up making his rounds around the house to make sure he has one last conversation with each couple before they shut down for the night. And he went into Willie and Shonda's room, and they were talking about how they don't get along and how they're arguing all the time. And Dr.Ish was telling them, well, how are you going to feel if this has an effect on your children? What happens if your daughter ends up growing up and she's calling you up, telling you she's dealing with the same things you're dealing with? And that hit Shonda hard, and so she started to cry, and Dr.Ish told Willie to hug his wife. I don't understand why Dr. Ish had to tell Willie to hug Shonda. He should have just did it anyway, just because, you know, he cares. But that's besides the point. Whatever. I hope the two of them work things out, or they can come up with some type of agreement, because they do have children. Now, Tony and Corrupt were just a lost cause for the night. He was screaming and yelling at Tony. She was kind of sitting there quiet while he acted a fool drunk. He ended up telling her that he didn't want to be in the marriage boot camp house anymore. He storms off and says that he's not doing the show. And the episode ends up cutting there. So that was the end of episode 1, season 17. I thought this was a pretty good episode, and I think this is going to be a really good season, although I believe it'll be very explosive, judging from the clips that they showed that's going to be happening this season. So let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button for me. I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos and hit the notification bell so that you are notified whenever I upload a new video. Thank you to all my subscribers for the support. I appreciate you all, and until next time, I will see you guys in my next video.